welcome to Ripley, Ohio. Hello, my name is Melanie Stamper and I want to welcome you to Ripley, Ohio. Ripley, Ohio was a historic district on the Ohio River. Ripley, Ohio is across the river from Maysville, Kentucky, where Harriet Beecher Stowe Museum is. Many of the Ripley people were involved in the Underground Railroad. That is what makes the history of Ripley so exciting. They called slaves escaping passengers. They pretended it was a railroad, and the people getting them to freedom were called conductors. These were all secret names. Several of these homes on Front Street were once owned by the conductors on the Underground Railroad. The Signal House was part of the Underground Railroad. The owners would light a candle in the attic to let John Rankin know it was safe to move passengers. This is the John Rankin House. This house was a historical landmark on the Underground Railroad. John Rankin was also an abolitionist. He and his family helped thousands of slaves escape to freedom. When it was safe for the slaves to come in John Rankin's house, he would light a lantern and put it in the window so the slaves, most of the 2,000 escaped slaves, stayed in the Rankin house. The Rankin family, which included 13 children, was proud they had never lost one of their passengers on the Underground Railroad. Rankin's house had secret hiding places for the slaves to hide in so they couldn't get caught like this one here. Being a conductor on the Underground Railroad was illegal and dangerous. "100 steps lead from Ripley, Ohio to the Rankin House. You can still see these steps today." John Parker was born a slave. His mother was a slave, and his father was a white plantation owner. His father sold him when he was 8 years old. Parker had to walk barefoot and chained from Virginia to Alabama, where his new owner lived. Slaves were not allowed to read, but Parker was sold to a doctor, and the doctor's son taught him how to read. John Parker was able to buy his freedom when he was just 18 years old. John Parker became an abolitionist and started a foundry in Ripley, Ohio. The foundry is no longer here, but the house still remains. John Parker was the first African American to receive a U.S. patent for the invention he made. Parker created a tobacco press, sugar mill, and a soil pulverizer. Parker was an active conductor on the Underground Railroad. In Kentucky, there was a huge $1,000 reward on his head. $1,000 was a huge amount of money during Thomas Collins helped 2 runaway slaves by hiding them in the Collins business. The slaves hid in 2 coffins while people hunted for them. When the coast was clear, they went up the hill to safety in John Rankin's house. Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote the famous story about Uncle Tom's Cabin. Harriet Beecher Stowe visited Ripley and was an abolitionist. She visited with Reverend John Rankin and told her many stories about the Underground Railroad. Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote the book Uncle Tom's Cabin. Many of the stories were based on real events, like the story of Eliza that Rankin told her. Eliza was based on a real person. Eliza ran across the frozen Ohio River with her baby in her arms while being chased by wild dogs. Harriet Beecher Stowe's book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, was very important. It let people understand what slavery was really like. John Rankin and John Parker are heroes and should be remembered as heroes forever. Do you want to find out more about Ripley and the Underground Railroad? Visit Ripley, Ohio and learn more. Thank you for taking the tour of Ripley with me. Thank you for taking the tour of Ripley with me. Bye.